Ladies and gentlemen, it's back. One of the most disturbing FNAF fan games of all time is finally back with demo number 2. Twisted Carnival could easily go down as one of the scariest FNAF fan games, with its seriously frightening Twisted Animatronics, sinister storyline, and of course terrifying gameplay. This game filled players, including myself, with anxiety, wanting it to be over, but yet, like a bad car accident, just not being able to look away. And with the first demo coming out over 2 years ago, we finally get to see demo number 2. But before we get into that, let's do a quick catch up of everything you need to know about the original game. For starters, this game was actually intended for mature audiences. Filled with cartoon violence and not to mention realistic blood, the game's developers brought to life some of the most horror-stricken animatronics you will ever see. It also features a unique gameplay style. One where playing as a Nightguard does not mean that you'll be sitting alone in an office, but instead taking your post in a horrifying carnival booth. And you guessed it, it is in the Twisted Carnival. On Monday, the night is quite simple. You get to use your flashlight to shine off into the distance, not to mention the big red button that closes the curtains in front of you. But there's just something hair-raising about the mannequin that sits behind us. However, we also do have a monitor as well as a phone and an alarm clock to tell us what time we are at in the night. And going back to the monitor, we're actually able to see the entire carnival. Using the 9 cameras and the little grid in the bottom left-hand corner, this makes the night just a little bit easier. Now on Monday, the only animatronics that will be attacking us are actually Bonnie and Chica, or as they are known in this game, Chixie and Bonzo. And these two animatronics will basically wander around the carnival until they end up at your window. And once they pop up, all you have to do is hit that red button and hold it with your mouse cursor until they eventually go away. Oh, actually, I did forget, there's one more animatronic in this night. However, he's so useless, it's hard to remember. There's a Freddy-like animatronic known as Bearhug, who kind of reminds me of Foxy in FNAF 2, where you basically need to shine your light on him as the curtains won't work. And he does not show up on any cameras, so you have to really make sure you listen, and as he gets closer, just fend him off by shining your light repeatedly at him. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, the animatronics in this game, especially when they're at your window, is so creepy. There's just a sinister look in their eyes. However, once completing the night, we actually get a cool minigame. And the developer did a really cool job of making the minigames incorporated with the story. And in this first cutscene, we see the likes of David, also the guy who speaks to us in night 1. And it looks like he has an obsession with the carnival. And of course, his mother thinks it's unhealthy. But David doesn't listen, as he thinks something deeper is going on at the place. He believes that they're trying to cover something up over there, and he makes reference to a her. I don't know if it's his daughter, his girlfriend, but whatever the case may be, it's someone very important to him. And his mom tries to play the whole thing off, saying that he knows what the police report said. Faulty wiring. But David is not buying it, as he used to be an ex-police officer. He's going to do some investigating on his own. Once that cutscene ends though, we go right into an arcade style game. And it looks like you play as a little version of what looks to be Scott. Just Scott with a green suit, I guess. But regardless, as you walk your way around this little arcade game, you come across what looks to be a prize roulette, which apparently is a cycle through a gauntlet of games. And you need to complete as many as you can before the time runs out. And if you do so, you'll be rewarded with some tickets. Now these games are spread all throughout this arcade form of the carnival, and I settled with the Big Balloon Boy, which his game was pretty simple. It was just dart throwing. All I had to do was pop the balloons and put them in the trash. Pretty simple, right? Well, after failing miserably, I came out with 6 tickets, and we're off to the prize place. Now the prize place is pretty cool because you can actually buy stuff to help you with your chances at beating the night. But in this case, we're not going to buy anything and just head straight into Tuesday night. However, there's a catch. For every game that you beat in that arcade style game of the carnival, that character will now show up in your next night. So you guessed it, Balloon Boy is now active. But he's actually not the only threat in this night. You see, Foxtrot, aka Foxy, is also active. And once he shows up on the middle camera, he will actually run full speed to the window next to your monitor. And his mechanics are actually pretty interesting. You have to quickly turn around, spot him at the window, and once you do that, he will run all the way around to the front of the booth, and you need to make sure you close the curtains. But one thing I definitely want to point out about night 2 is the initial phone call. You see, David is back, and he tells us that he's a private investigator.
You came back again? Well, I guess since you did come back, you probably want some sort of explanation. My name is David. I'm a private investigator. I've been scouting this park out for weeks now. which is how I know so much about the park's robots. Why? Well, about 3 weeks back, there was an incident. 5 kids got on the Big Twisted. That's the large Ferris wheel the carnival is famous for, but I'm sure you already knew that. However, for some unknown reason, when the ride ended, all 5 children were found dead. Doctors couldn't figure out why. No traumas or injuries. It was as if all their hearts just stopped. I believe the police are covering something up. Nothing seems to make sense of any of it. But that's why I'm here. But I'll get to the bottom of it. Now that you know what's going on here, I'm hoping you'll help me find the truth. For now, just keep doing what you're doing. There's a few more robots creeping around.
He also admits that he's kind of been stalking the place the last couple of weeks and goes into details about a group of 5 kids who 3 weeks ago went on the Ferris wheel. However, when they came back down, they were no longer breathing. And with no signs of trauma, they were just left there, lifeless. And David is not buying it, as he says that he's going to get to the bottom of this, and apparently we're in it with him. But after completing night 2, we're brought to another minigame. And in this minigame, we see David talking to a disgruntled carnival owner. And this man doesn't look to be very helpful, as David continues to ask him questions about the missing employees and of course the children. He also asks him if anything strange has been happening around the carnival, which the owner once again just brushes off and says the only thing strange is that my employees keep quitting or vanishing on me, blaming it on the recent police investigation. However, he does allow David to take a look around the carnival, just reminding him not to break anything. Which leads us back into the 8-bit carnival game. And after walking around for quite a bit, we stumble across Cotton, and he explains that someone's been eating all his cotton candy and he needs help. So I agreed to go ahead and jump into his game, which is actually called Cotton Candy Craze. And this one's actually a lot easier than the first game we played. All you have to do is put the cotton candy into the little bin at the end, and you get tickets. And of course, just like the first night, once completed, you get your tickets and head over to the prize place. So at this point, we have a couple tickets saved up, and I bought the computer chip and a couple plushies. So I guess at this point, we're ready for Wednesday night. And speaking of Wednesday night, we get a call from David again, who basically reassures us that we're doing a great job and he's still on the investigation. Now, to be quite honest, nothing has really changed in this night. The only new animatronic that's been added is Cotton, and it doesn't seem to make it any harder. And with the new chip upgrade, it makes it even easier. So we're able to complete this one fairly quickly. And this brings us to our third and final minigame of the demo, which has us playing as David again. However, things look a little bit different. Everything is covered in purple, and we make our way over to the Ferris wheel. Now, the point of this minigame is basically to show how terrible this place has become, as we find these different employee logs all over the place, talking about how horrid the place is, how things keep breaking down, and of course the lack of hygiene around the place. After going around for quite some time, we actually find the exit and escape, which ends the demo. Now, like I said at the beginning of this video, this demo came out 2 years ago, and many people believe that this was the end of Twisted Carnival. And to be honest, up until August 15th, I thought the same exact thing. That was until a new page of Twisted Carnival popped up on GameJolt. This time, the developer was somebody by the name of Sison. And forgive me if I'm pronouncing that wrong. But they put up a post that said, "Welcome to the new page. I'll upload the builds of the original page when I get a chance, most likely tomorrow at some point." And 4 days later, a person by the name of Rotten Eggplant put up a clarification post, basically explaining that the game was left by Galva to these 2 developers, and they were going to do everything in their power to recreate a great game that is going to be completely free. And 3 days after that, they put up a post that said the demo will be released very, very soon, this Friday, bringing us to August 25th, today's date. And we're going to go ahead and jump in and see just how good this new demo is, as the original game had so much potential, and I was really let down after seeing that there was not going to be any updates. But this right here could change everything. So let's go ahead and dive into some gameplay. So after downloading the game and initially booting it up, I didn't notice too much change in the main menu. I mean, the music is a bit different, but other than that, nothing too crazy. But jumping into Monday night, you'll actually see there's a new loading screen in between each night. This loading screen basically explains the function of the animatronics and how to ward them off. And to be honest, the game just felt a lot more creepy and dark. And moving through the night, everything seemed to be kind of working similar to the first demo, except David actually calls you throughout the night. giving you tips and tricks, letting you know that the Freddy animatronic has escaped the shed and that he's on his way close to your office, and I felt like he was a lot more interactive than the initial demo. Not to mention, the developers also added subtitles, which made it a little bit easier to understand him, as there's a lot of motion and chaos going on, and sometimes his voice gets muffled in it. Now, the minigame was pretty much the same, as the mom basically tells David that he needs to stay out of it. However, the 8-bit carnival part looked a lot better and more pleasing to the eye. They also added a few new minigames and probably new characters as well, so I went ahead and tried out the Balloon Boy Bopper game, or as the game calls it, Whack-A-Boy, which is pretty simple. All you have to do is swing the hammer and try and whack as many balloon boys as possible, and to be honest, I really just played this game for my own personal grievances with Balloon Boy. And once completing it, we actually get sent right back to the prize place, but this time it looks a bit different. You'll notice 2 new items are now in the prize place, one being this fishbowl, which is pretty much just cosmetic, and the other being a curtain customizer. Now, unfortunately, I only had 11 tickets, so I bought the battery, but this curtain customizer does look like it has a lot of potential of changing how the game looks and maybe making it look a little creepier. But regardless, we went ahead and jumped right into Tuesday night, and we now have the addition of Balloon Boy, which is actually a lot of fun, as when he pops up in multiple different forms, you need to whack them out of the way before you can actually change camera angles and move around in your office. And similar to the original demo, Foxy does show up in this night. However, this shopkeep is also active, and now he has some voice lines. To get rid of him, it's pretty simple. You just have to turn around and see him in the front of your office, and then quickly turn around and see him in the back of the office. And if you don't do that, he's going to steal something that you bought from the shop. And there's no way I was letting him get his hands on my Foxy plushie. But after wrapping up this night, we head into another minigame. And this cutscene is pretty similar to the original demo, as we talk to the owner of the carnival, and he's not very helpful once again. And once completing the cotton minigame in the actual 8-bit version of the game, we head back into the prize place. And unfortunately, one of the new updates to the game is that the battery is now a consumable item, and you have to buy it from night to night. Of course, I bought another one because this game is almost impossible without it, and I headed into Wednesday night. Now, Wednesday night went exactly as planned, really similar to the first demo, and even Cotton was pretty easy to manage. But what I found really helpful is David calling us throughout the night and literally walking us through it. He explains to us that Bearhug has been repaired and exactly when he's coming to attack us. And he does the same thing with the shopkeep. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, the night was really intense. I was literally jumping back and forth, checking my flashlight, checking the monitors, but overall, we beat it. And unfortunately, the minigame after was exactly the same as the first demo. But there are a lot of positives when it comes to this new demo. For one, this amazing game is actually still in the works. And I'm really happy to see 2 developers that are so passionate in making it happen. Not to mention, they've already made some really significant updates, which makes the gameplay a lot smoother and a lot more fun. And they added an extra menu, which is really cool, because now you can see what characters are still to pop up in the game, obviously all the jump scares, and even some lore. So overall, the most disturbing FNAF fan game is actually still alive and kicking, and I cannot wait to play the full thing. But guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video here. Thank you guys again for all of the support, and if you made it this far in the video and you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, and I would say check out this video here. We did a FNAF free roam game that was a lot of fun. But until next time guys, peace out!